Let me grab some ice water for this one. So my second marriage was kind of a piggyback from the first one. You know, I was still married, but the marriage was so toxic that it just had to end at that point. And I met my second husband through a mutual friend. She told me that that was her little brother. That's the way she called him. And that he really liked me or something, and that he'd been checking me out for about a year, but I didn't know about it. And we were at a still beach party. A still beach party is when you're on a ship and the ship anchors out and you basically have a party, and we kind of make it out of like a beach scene. It's barbecuing. It's just a really good time. We have a lot of fun. It's all kinds of games and blah, blah, blah. So she was telling me about him. And when she told me his age, I said no immediately, because I've always been attracted to men that's older than me. So I said no immediately, because the way I saw it, you know, younger guys always seems to be immature. And I was already going through a situation, so I didn't want to go through something else. So she knew that I was planning on divorcing my current husband, but I wasn't interested in entertaining the idea of some young guy, you know, since I felt that younger guys were immature. And I was going through drama already, and he was older than me. So I wasn't interested, to be honest, at the beginning. And when she showed me who it was, I remember that. When she showed me who it was, I said, absolutely not. I saw this guy on the ship many times, and he was all about attention. And I actually remember meeting him a while back at a Command Christmas party. We were sitting outside, and he gave me a light for my cigarette. And a female that knew was at the table, and she looked at us and said, "You guys make a cute couple." But I was offended, and I told her to respect my marriage. And he and I, we didn't even really talk or anything. He just gave me a light, and then I walked off because I was already pissed off that my husband at the time refused to go to the Christmas party with me. Now, a long time passed, and then me and my husband at the time, we got into a huge fight. Physically, verbally, it was a huge, huge fight, and I was done. You know, I started doing research on the process for a divorce, and lo and behold, the mutual friend, she mentioned her little brother again and said, just meet him at least, you know. So I said, okay, you know what, fine. And we were out to sea, and she set up a location on the ship, and she set up a time for us to meet. So I was not impressed at first. I was absolutely not impressed at first. He introduced himself with his nickname, and right away I was side-eyeing him, and I was like, what's the name that your mother gave you? Because I'm not about to call you some nickname. I won't even say the nickname. But even when I heard the nickname, I was like, that's just not going to happen for me. So I needed to know his real name so I could call him by his real name. And we did talk for a little bit, and we got to know each other, and he seemed cool. But he was a ladies' man on the ship. I remember that clearly. He was very popular with the ladies on the ship. He was always loud. He was always looking for attention. And that is just too extra for me. I am not attracted to men who are always seeking for attention and validation outside of themselves. And, you know, all they want is for people to have all eyes on them and all this attention. To me, that's not sexy, that's not hot, and I just was not attracted to that. I'm still not attracted to that. But this guy actually had like a different side of him when he was around me. You know, he was funny, he was caring, he was affectionate. That loudmouth thing that he did around everybody else, he was the opposite with me. He had a good heart, and he really, really liked me. And I could tell by how nervous he was when he was around me at first. And then he dropped the hammer. He dropped the hammer, guys. He said he was married as well, and he wasn't happy either, but they were staying together because they had a kid on the way. Now, I was immediately triggered. I was trying to get out of a marriage that started something like that, and I was triggered. So I was like, let's just be friends. So we became friends, and of course, both of us have charisma, so the attraction started. And he had a best friend that I actually knew before I knew him. And his best friend used to talk about him in such a great way. His best friend is actually our kid's godfather. And he used to speak really highly of him, telling me that we'd be a good couple and all that. So I admit, I got sucked in. Fell for the okie doke. I got sucked in. And I can't put it on him. I'm not going to do that because, again, my decisions are my decisions. No one has control over my decisions. So I have to take ownership of my decisions. So yes, We got to know each other and we fell for each other. But this was yet another drama-filled situation, of course. But we were so in love at the time that he used to say it was us against the world. And it actually felt like that, to be honest. Well, at the beginning.